What books do you like to read in your spare time?
Well, as a keen sports person and a keen runner, I like to read books that are related to those topics. So at the moment I'm doing a lot of training for ultramarathons, so I'm reading books by different runners, people like Dean Karnazes, and he does a series of books called Ultramarathon Man, where he talks about running 50 marathons in 50 days. And it's not so much about the actual content of it, if you like, about the individual races that he's done, but it's about the mindset. And we talk a lot about growth mindset in school, but that ability to see a challenge and to want to take it on and to want to improve. And it's that kind of thing that I find quite motivational about reading about these people who've done these amazing things, these feats of physical endeavour, that just really inspires me.
Great. And do you have any recommendations for our students?
Well, I was thinking back to my time in school, and I think the book that I enjoyed the most, which I know unfortunately was taken out of the national curriculum, was The Crucible. So rather than specifically being a book, it's a play by a famous American playwright, Arthur Miller, and some people may have seen the film of The Crucible that was made quite a few years ago, but I think it's a really good play to read. Very entertaining, very clever. It's a very sort of serious story looking at the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts, and it's a bit of a, I think the word's an allegory, where it's making direct comparisons to McCarthyism in America, but there's just a couple of lines in there that always were very memorable to me, like Giles Corey when he's asked to basically say that he's seen witchcraft taking place and is being pressed, and rather than say that he's seen witchcraft taking place, he just calls for more weight. And that was something that always stuck with me. I just thought it was a really well written play and a really interesting topic.
Thank you very much.
Eddie, what's your favourite genre and why?
I like to read crime and mystery novels because you get to unravel the story and figure out yourself as you go through the book.
Lucy, any book recommendations for young students?
Yeah, I'd recommend My Brother's Name is Jessica because I think it's a really good book and it's got very good life lessons in it.
What does the book tackle?
It tackles a young boy who's transgender and how he gets accepted by his family.
Fantastic, thank you. Martha, what was your favourite topic in Key Stage 3 English?
My favourite topic in Key Stage 3 English was animal farms. I really enjoyed the politics of the book.
Hello, Miss Aladjins. Can you tell me what you like most about being an English teacher?
I love teaching English, partly because literature teaches us about life. The texts we study cover love, death, loss, power, friendship, betrayal. Stories teach us life lessons, and we can take those out into the wider world.
Emily, what's your favourite book?
My favourite book of all time is The Throne of Glass. I really like it because there's this idea of horror and war, but then this plays alongside a love story, so I find it really interesting.
Poppy, what do you enjoy about fiction?
I enjoy getting tied into the text and wanting to know what happens next.
Miss Harmon, what is a book that you'd recommend for everyone to have on their reading list?
I would choose this little small book called Jonathan Livingston's Seagull, and it's the story of a seagull who is absolutely obsessed with flying. So all seagulls fly, but most seagulls fly as a way of getting food, but he just loves the pure excitement of being able to fly and pushing his limits and pushing the boundaries. And it's something that I apply to my artwork every day because I like to see how far I can push what I can do, push my skills, push my ideas, but also just having fun in what you're doing in that particular moment. So I think it's a good book about life in general and really inspirational.
Thank you.
Rosie, what do you enjoy about reading?
I enjoy reading because it allows you to escape into a different world, and if you're struggling with different things in your life, then it just allows you to relax.
Thank you.
Miss Crozier, how does reading for pleasure benefit your students?
So I'm a French teacher, and all of our work in French is about new words, and we talk a lot about the links between words in English and words in French. So the more that you read, the more words that you're introduced to, whether you realise it or not, the bigger and bigger and bigger your vocabulary in English gets, which will really, really help you in French if you can make those links between French words and English words. Aside from it being fun, reading for pleasure does really, really help you with language study.
Thank you.
What's your favourite genre for reading for pleasure?
My favourite genre is like crime, thriller, horror type books because they keep me more interested instead of like fairy tale and realistic type books.
So books that you can believe in?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Vasey, what do you love about teaching English?
Oh, there's loads of things I love about teaching English, but one of the main things is that there's never a dull day. We always seem to find something different to bring to texts, no matter which class it is. I've just been studying Romeo and Juliet with my year 11s. They were performing it, they were having such fun with it. And as we were reading certain lines, it was wonderful to see how certain students really brought their own experiences and different interpretations to those lines. I think the fantastic thing about English is that there's never a wrong answer, and we all bring our own experiences to the different texts that we read. It's fantastic to be able to be a part of that and see that in each of our lessons.
Tilly, when you have time for reading for pleasure in English lessons, what do you choose?
I choose a history book as it gives me new facts to learn.
Hartley, do you have a favourite genre?
I do. My favourite genre is historical fiction. I find it just really interesting because they're events that we can all relate to because we all know that they happen, we know a bit about them, but it's finding out about those characters and hearing those stories of individual people within this wider kind of spectrum that we already know about. So like World War II, for instance, I find absolutely fascinating World War II fiction because I just really love hearing individual stories about different characters from a time that we all know so much about historically.
Joe, why are you looking forward to getting back into the library and reading lessons?
I like reading in the library because also there's like a bunch of variety that you can have for reading. Like all the books are about different things and you can just read whatever you want, and there's always a book that you can find that's exactly for you.
Mrs. Rollins, why do you love teaching English at Malton School?
I absolutely love teaching English at Malton School for so many reasons. I just love all different types of texts. So I love poems, I love plays, and I love novels, and we teach all of them here at Malton. I'm also a big believer that every student has their own story to tell. So one of the big things that I enjoy doing is all the creative writing that we do at Malton. And I've just been teaching a lesson where we've been looking at writing stories, and one of my very creative pupils decided to write a story about change from the perspective of a tree over time. And that's just the kind of thing that you just can never expect when you walk into a classroom and then you suddenly get a brand new interpretation of something. And that's what I love most, is that the students never stop surprising me.
Thank you. Enjoy reading?
Yes, I love reading. I don't actually study English at A-level anymore, but I still read all the time, and I'm actually onto my 52nd book of the year, which is really exciting. And I just think books, both non-fiction and fiction, are so interesting. So like with non-fiction you get to learn about the world, but also in fiction you get to get invested in stories and have an imaginative place, and as well learn about the world through different characters that you would never normally be invested in, that you can learn about through fiction.
Ben, tell us about one of your favourite books.
One of my favourite books was actually a text that we studied in Year 9 English, where we looked at Of Mice and Men, and it was so interesting because it was studying a different culture, it was studying a different time, and it was very gripping with the characters as well, so you were always interested in what was going to happen next, which is really important when reading a book.
At Malton School, we're lucky enough to enjoy a fantastic library facility. Our students have access to hundreds of titles that they may borrow, renew and return at their convenience. We're also thrilled to be back in the library for dedicated reading lessons this year. Stop by if you get a chance.